whoop section. There's Byrne right behind Stewart, and they're trying to figure out all those spots that are starting to get chewed out, little ruts through there. If you get one sideways about 4 in, it wrecks the rhythm all the way down the rest of the straightaway. So everywhere else in the track, they just pretty much rode around and waved at the crowd until they got to the whoops, and everyone kind of jammed up there.
Looks like some rocks have really come to the surface, too, that weren't there earlier. James Stewart looking back at the takeoff ruts.
See the ruts right there? Those are only the width of a tire. And if you get, you know, just kind of in the edge of one of those, the wheel washes out. And you can see all those spots right there. I mean, you've got to hit those perfect. So that bike straight. You want to stay a little bit back behind the bike and squeeze it with your knees and try to keep that rear end from going so much side to side. Jessamine
28
was impressive in that first heat race. You know, Chad did eventually get him, but he didn't get him the way I thought he would. He took off right on his tail.
Short pulling in right next to him, and there's Chad Reed. Let's check out the Honda starting grid. First of all, let it off with 259, James Stewart, and then Chad Reed, Travis Elliott, Randy Jessamine, David Pingree, Woods, Short, Antonez, Brock Sellards, a one-time winner this year, Steve Boniface, Danny Smith, Chas Reed, Christopher Gossler, Michael Brown, Matt Walker, Hadsel, Buckaloo, Smith, Preston, Byrne, Tedesco, and Casey Lytle. There's Lytle, just barely getting into the main event, taking the 4th spot in the LCQ.
You gotta like having these guys lined up right next to each other, because it seems like if something happens to one of them, it might happen a little bit to the other guy. And if they don't get great starts, and they come through the pack together, and it'll be pretty sudden.
James, but credit for one whole shot this year. He says, hey, I got another one. I know I got another one.
He needs it now. He needs it bad.
Chad Reed usually gets a 4th or 5th place start. Sideways, we're set to go. The 125 shootout from Las Vegas is underway. Let's see who gets the Powerade hole shot.
Stewart tucked it around the inside. It didn't look good at first.
Hard to see who's down in the gully down there. It's Gossler, number 90.
Boy, what an opportunity here. He's thought a couple of times this year that he had it won. Houston, he thought he had that one. One other one, I can't remember for sure, but Stewart already making a block pass, working his way up a little further.
And Travis Elliott in 2nd place.
Stewart putting a pass on
Pingree. No, that's Boniface. Yeah, Boniface.
So how
KTM number 36.
How Stewart was able to get around Reed, who just kind of elbowed in front of him on the start, got ahead of him in the first corner. And good decisions that time. Got through the pack, excellent. He's got a pretty good distance now on Reed. He's still buried back in the pack a bit.
Gossler, Danny Smith, who made a podium finally in the last race of the year after an up-and-down injury-riddled season, is in 2nd. Gossler, Smith, Elliott, Stewart, Boniface, Tedesco. And look at this. Here comes Stewart to the inside.
And just turns on a dime after that. Look at that. Just whips the front end over. Crowd going, this kid is unbelievable.
Next, he's taking on Danny Smith all of a sudden.
And then he had worked on that earlier. If he couldn't do that triple coming from the inside, he doubles the next two and then the next two into the corner. So the rhythm actually still turns out pretty fast. And he's closing a little bit on Gossler, who's been the only rider this season in his division that has been able to match Stewart's speed.
Gossler has had a lot of speed this year.
Got a rider down over this triple. Oh, no. Looks like Buckaloo might have got caught up.
Either that or Anthony.
Oh, no, that's Short. He just gets out of the way.
Number 69, yes. The fans are on their seats. On the seats of James Stewart now. Takes Gossler.
It was down the rhythm section that nobody else has been able to jump. Now, this is the triple I was talking about. They had problems. That kind of caught the corner of my eye. I got mixed up as where they were on the racetrack. Looked like it might have been a KTM rider down right there. But Stewart, unbelievable. You see how fast this kid is able to make up for a bad start. This is the rhythm section. Gossler's getting through there quick, but it's not the same as tripling into that corner, as you can see, and the crowd just getting their money's worth here, watching Stewart do what he does best, ride flawless and work his way up front. But Got a long ways to go.
He had a perfect race in his last race, as perfect as you can have in Salt Lake City.
Now watch him
The
stretch.
pressure was off.
See, he'll stretch this lead out on Gosler, who's back there going, how the heck am I going to jump all that stuff now? Pretty hard to make up something that huge. It takes that much nerve to get it figured out in the main event. You can see the difference now. Stewart pulling away. Let's see what happened through the whoops. This is Andrew Short getting to the back of Danny Smith there, looks like. Or I think that was Jessamine.
Yeah.
Preston just getting
like
around him.
But out in front, number 259, James Stewart. Went out tonight to prove himself the fastest, the best of the best, despite not taking the title.
You got Reed now starting to close on the battle. There he is.
Eddie Smith in front of him.
And just a little ways up to Gosler, but they've got pretty much this entire straightaway up to the leader, Stewart.
And remember, the 125 shootout final is 15 laps. Reed cuts to the inside of Danny Smith. Chad Reed now moving into second place.
Now he's got that rhythm section dialed in.
Third place, I should say.
So I said a couple of times that by mistake, actually, Stewart's the only guy jumping that rhythm section. Reed has it figured out now. And he's going to need it figured out if he plans on catching Stewart. Stewart could go a little bit into cruise mode with this huge lead he has, already almost a 5-second lead. But there you see Stewart going over the finish line, going the other way. So that gives you an idea of the lead that Reed has got to make up.
About a 5.3-second lead. Gosler in second place with Reed in third.
Watch him close this time on Gosler.
Tedesco is battling for fifth and fourth.
See Reed, he triples right there. Triples again into the corner. And all of a sudden, he's not getting over it as clean as Stewart, but it's still a lot faster, and Gosler's got company.
Preston, the West champion, is in ninth. He's got Sellers in front of him. But right now, the champion of the East, Chad Reed, is trying to pick up on the second place rider in the East, or the West, I should say, James Stewart.
Stewart, coming through the same section, just ran into one of those PJ1 tough blocks off to the side. So he was running right next to the edge of the track, trying to find a good line.
Here comes Reed now, testing Gosler. Reed trying to pick his spot. Doesn't want to wait too long.
His spot's coming up right on this straightaway. He can't be following him though. And he couldn't do it. He wasn't able to triple through there. Gosler was smart. He knew something was going on, knew he caught him. And he just went right down the middle of the straightaway and tried to cover it, so there was no way that Reed could make the move. He lost more time to Stewart out front. Now they're almost 10 seconds back.
So it almost takes another mistake by James Stewart if Chad Reed hopes to win the shootout.
Stewart is Stewart when he's on. He's so fast, and he puts the pressure on everybody. And you can't even see him in the picture. He's already going the other way. Can you imagine how that feels for these guys that come out of a corner and they're like, where the heck is the leader?
The important thing we've seen about James Stewart is that he's a learner. He doesn't stand still. He keeps analyzing and comes back for more. There's Reed and back of Gosler. With Jeremy Albrecht, Stewart's mechanic. Let's go to Jeff.
Jeremy, you got to be happy with Bubba. Have you ever seen a more exciting rider?
No, I mean, he's obviously real fun to watch, and he's doing a great job out there. He came here and he's learned every week, and he's doing exactly what we came here to do.
So what was the game plan going into this?
Basically just to ride his own race and not worry about, East Coast, West Coast, all that stuff, just trying to do the best he can for himself and, just work on his technique and doing what he knows how to do.
I seen on the pit board you put "you're bad." That's awesome.
Yeah, he is bad.
All right, back to you guys.
He is. And
that's his former mechanic, Jeff Emig.
Yep.
Jeff won the championship.
In 97, right here. Wrapped it up, so.
Here's the battle for second. Chad Reed in the timing section with Gosler on his tail.
Now, you know, there was so many people talking about how, you know, Chad is so smart, he's crafty, and he doesn't make mistakes. And he got the start. He was ahead of Stewart at one point. But it was Stewart's intelligence and good choices, putting himself in the right place in that opening lap to get the gap on Chad in traffic and set this up right now. Chad may match Stewart's lap times out front from here on out. He may even be faster, but he's got to make up 12 seconds. I don't think there's enough time.
Chad Reed, one win away from a perfect season in his rookie year racing in America. He started off with an impressive 6 wins, clinching the 125 East in St. Louis. And of course, all during the year. These races can be heard live on the webcast. ESPN.com, keyword is Supercross.
The lead right now by Stewart. Chad's got to be going. I think it's Chad going the other way. I mean, Stewart going the other way. Chad can see that.
Can't miss that pink outfit going by.
No. Nope, you can't. He knows that he's had the speed. Their lap times are similar, but that last lap, actually Chad's was a little bit faster by a 10th, but it's not going to be enough with the laps that remain.
Steve Boniface walked off holding his shoulder. He's with Terry Boyd right now.
Steve, I see you're holding your left shoulder. What seems to be the problem?
Yeah, I crashed in the beginning and I hurt a little bit my shoulder, but I hope it's not too bad.
You're just hoping to like maybe rest it tonight and get ready for the outdoors next week.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, it just makes sense, Davey, for those guys to head back and get ready for next week when you're that far out.
Boniface, an early surprise in the 125 East, getting 2 podiums in the first 3 races. Moved into 3rd place in the standings and then crashed early. Last place start at Pontiac, came back to 18th, and he finished out the season 5th in the standings.
How about this?
Finish. Mike Brown might be lapped by James Stewart.
He's not going to like that. These guys square off next week for the first round of the outdoor series and to be getting lapped by a guy that he hopes to beat next week. Obviously, Mike's having some trouble.
Stewart with tremendous focus going through those whoops.
He's going through everywhere. It doesn't look like he's backed off much. He's knocked several tough blocks off the side of the racetrack since I've had my eyes on him.
The Honda stopwatch showing the interval between Stewart and Reed. On the last lap, 11.5 seconds. This lap, 10.3. He's got to step it up, though, with only about 3.5 laps left in this race.
Well, Reed's doing all he can do. He's trying to keep his pace going and continue to triple through the rhythm section, which he has been doing, so that if Stewart does make one of those mistakes, he'll be close enough to take advantage of it, but it looks like Stewart's night. Watch him through these whoops coming up.
There's Preston in 7th.
Trying to chase down Matt Walker, who, I'll tell you what, coming up at another half lap. The whoop section, I thought they were coming to it right there. Walker went down in the first practice session this afternoon and just laid there thinking, I thought he might have broken his collarbone. And I talked to Dr. John Bodner. He said he wouldn't be surprised if he broke a couple of ribs and he goes down again. Oh, that's got to hurt.
And he's holding it.
Yeah, this is how it looked this afternoon. And I was about to say, what a gutsy performance to come back in. Bodner, I talked to, he said he wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if he had a couple of broken ribs and he just takes another shot.
That's Walker. A great breakthrough win this year. One of 5 different winners in the 125 West. Looks like he wants to get back on the bike.
This kid is tough.
Checking it out again.
I couldn't hardly really tell what happened there.
Preston lucky to get around him.
Yeah,
actually.
Preston just had good reaction time right there to stay clear of it. And here's the leader.
Will it be his 4th win of the season? He didn't win a championship, but what a rookie season at 16 years old.
And you know, you talked about how smart he is and he's a quick learner and all that, and he is. But some of those crashes and things that he talked to his mechanic about not too long ago, he didn't really learn from that. He kept on making those same mistakes, and it surprised me a little bit because every time I talk to him, I'm so impressed with how far ahead his thinking is and his planning and how much he knows about his competitors, and he seems to know their strengths and weaknesses probably as good or better than they do.
Did you see the roost of that camera?
Yep. everyone's going, man, that Kawasaki is fast. I don't know how it is sized up with everybody else's bike, but he makes it look fast, you know, because of the way he rides in the power band. He's always in the right gear.
The beginning of the season didn't go with the Pro Circuit Kawasaki support team, but went under the big rig. This is the final lap for James Stewart. Can he keep that tradition alive of a non-champion winning the shootout at the end of the season?
Looks like he will.
Ramsey's done it twice, Pastrana once, and they didn't win those years. This could be 4 in a row.
He cools it a little bit, decides I don't need to triple through this thing again. Even though his lead shrunk to 8 seconds, he still feels like he's got this one in the bag.
He just said, all right, I want to be the fastest of the fast, not the best of the best.
Jeez.
Whipping it out, James Stewart.
Earlier,
Crowd standing on their feet in honor of this young 16-year-old in his first Supercross season.
this is the last kind of risky section. This loop section and the next one. If he gets through all this, he's got it.
Stewart, Reed, Gosselaar, Tedesco, Danny Smith up to 5th. As we're on the final lap, Preston has moved into 6th. The checkers and the 125 shootout victory for James Stewart.
And Reed, he did a good job. He rode hard all the way to the end, but he's not going to be happy with the way that first lap went. Kind of laughing at the way James came up with the finish line jump. It's like he had something in mind. It didn't really go as planned. He kind of held his hand up like, well, whatever.
His first win as a pro was in San Diego. And he caps the season with the Dave Combs Memorial 125 shootout.
That's got to take the sting a little bit out of losing that title. And there's the sportsmanship.
Look at that. Chad Reed from Australia, James Stewart from Haines City, Florida, and Christopher Gosselaar out of California coming up number 90.